So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. Today we're going to be talking about Silicon Valley Bank. Employers with Silicon Valley Bank accounts are facing a pretty big predicament, and we need to talk about it and how they can make payroll. So, what's going on, if you're not familiar, is that Silicon Valley Bank has run into a cash shortage, mostly as a result of people pulling money out of their account as a result of lower liquidity. And that's a very abbreviated version of it. There's a lot more to it. If you're interested, definitely check out a link down below about the Silicon Valley Bank. We're not going to be digging into the specific problems with this bank, but the fact that many employers kept money in their accounts at the bank. Etsy kept money in their bank account there, as well as a whole lot of startups. And what that meant was that many employers could not pay their employees on time. In fact, there was a Reddit thread where someone was asking for help. It's pretty common. And in addition, employers can have pretty high liabilities from not making wage payments. And so there's a lot of things that HR needs to consider when they're looking over this. Uh, First things first is that HR and finance need to look for cash and payroll elsewhere. They can't simply, throw up their hand. They need to go outside of Silicon Valley Bank or anyone else. They can't meet payroll through promising things to the employees, but they do need to start communicating very clearly what is happening. And if they cannot get the cash that they need, there may be furloughs, right? And that triggers other legal consequences like the WARN Act or the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act, which absolutely may be triggered anytime that significant job losses take place. Employers can't allow employees to work for free, so they have to keep that on the front of their mind as well. Allowing someone to work, even when you have no way to pay them, will open you up to all sorts of legal liabilities. In addition, a way to sort of get through this temporarily is you might want to just have a temporary reduction of pay until things get over. You would announce to the entire staff what is going on, what needs to be fixed, and then take a path forward to reduce pay by a certain percentage going forward. That's a pretty solid way to cut payroll costs temporarily, and then ideally back pay the employees once you are funded again. But employers shouldn't, especially employers who are this is not a normal issue, but employers who are smaller shouldn't access money that's set aside for payroll taxes or 401k plans. You're going to get in a lot of legal trouble when you start going down that route. In addition, employers shouldn't be telling employees what will happen or, sort of promising the moon. It should be very much an idea towards getting things solved, letting people know the problem, and then letting them know what you're trying to do, but make no promises because you could get into a lot of problems. In the meantime, federal and state regulators are trying to provide some relief, but it is a tricky time. As someone who has experienced the sort of stress of employees missing their paycheck, not through bank failures, but through the simple act of a payroll mistake. I feel for the employers using Silicon Valley Bank right now because it is absolutely, it's a nightmare from an HR perspective, and it's a nightmare from an employee perspective. And that's what should be kept most mindful, is that the employees are the ones that suffer, and being empathetic will get you a long way.